Hello, everybody, and welcome to Learning the Tarot Teaching Thursdays. This is a free public preview of the Mentorship Circle. My Mentorship Circle group is $25 per month. It's free for your first month if you go to ladyshiya.com/trial. You can learn more at ladyshiya.com, but this is an example of one of the teaching classes that we do, and this one is a live class. A lot of other things that we do are kind of recorded and left there for self-paced learning. Oh yeah, here's my lunch, by the way, in case anybody wanted to know. Yeah, it's cucumbers, tomatoes, chickpeas, and mushrooms, but I've eaten almost all the mushrooms out, in case anybody was wondering. Hey, Patine, this is not a reading. We are learning the tarot today, so there is no free list. There's no like, subscribe. There's just we're learning how to read tarot. This is a teaching class today. So, we've talked about before the difference between oracle cards and tarot cards. Last time we did some simple 3-card readings with tarot cards. So this time I'm going to introduce us to 3-card readings with oracle cards. Okay, so just like the tarot cards, if you were not able to participate in last week's class or have not seen last week's class, the oracle cards are not the same as tarot. They have different meanings. Every oracle deck is different from the other, okay? But you can do 3-card spreads with oracle and not just tarot. Now, we did the simple past, present, future kind of look last time. So since Fatine is hanging out, Fatine, are you still here? You want to be a guinea pig and get a kind of help do your own reading? Who would like to volunteer to ask me some kind of a question that we might be able to answer in a 3-card spread? But here's the trick. If you turn around and ask the question, you're going to have to work through the interpretation with me, okay? Now, as we talked about, there is no added, Latoya. We're doing a teaching. Okay? So, if we are looking into what is going on here with the 3-card spread, most of the time you're going to go past, present, future. So if you turn around and ask a question about, hey, what is this, let's say, what is my financial situation? All right? You can go past, present, and future. Okay. Past, present, and future. So if you're looking at a financial situation, let's turn it over and understand what we're looking at. Past, present, and future. Okay. In the past, it looks like, things were the connection to somebody was bringing you additional money. All right. Now, this isn't just a generic reading kind of thing. Now, what we're doing is instead of just going for the direct interpretation, we're going to actually look at these cards individually and see what we're picking up from that, okay? So if we're asking, hey, what's the situation here on the finances? Well, we're using an oracle deck, so we're going to start with this one. This one's our past card, right? And so since it's an oracle deck, and this particular oracle deck is meant to be driven off of the imagery, what are you guys feeling from looking at this energy? Okay, what we have here showing in the imagery is we have kind of like almost like a crystal ball, but it's just like something's contained within this like special glass here, and you can see a hand, a spectral kind of hand that is reaching out to connect with our protagonist here, who is kind of out of costume. You can see part of his costumes here. You can see that he's still got his headdress on, but you can see he has removed his mask. Okay. And he's still turning around and kind of puffing his chest, but at the same time we see that he's in more relaxed posture because the belly is forward, right? Okay, we see that he's got his juggling tools, but they're kind of to the side. He's not in use, so he's not in character at the moment. Okay, and he's looking on to whatever is in this glass, and we see the face of a woman, and we see the kind of ethereal hand reaching out. Could this be maybe reaching something from behind the veil, something that's past? It's a teaching Thursday, Jonathan. Of course I'm live. Teaching Thursdays. You guys don't read the top, do you? Y'all don't? I don't know why I put all these graphics on there. But yeah. So basically, when you're looking at this, and you're looking at this as a past financial situation, Okay. This is not a tarot live. This is learning the tarot, learning how to read cards. Okay. So we're learning. This is a free public preview of the Mentorship Circle. Okay. And this is a teaching class. Okay. So please do not ask for a reading unless you're willing to participate in learning how to read. In which case, I will let you guys know, but there is no list. There is no readings being done. We are learning how to do this, okay? So, teaching the tarot. And I apologize if I come across like, hey, no, quit, pay attention. We are learning how to read the tarot. If you want to learn how to read, this is where you want to be. If you're just wanting a reading, come back tomorrow night, okay? Well, Fatine, anybody can learn how to do readings. Fatine says, oh, nice, but how can you learn without having the energy talent as readers? Simply by learning the cards, okay? So, Fatine, look at this card for a minute, okay? What do you feel? What draws your eye in this card? When you're looking at this card, this is not a tarot card, it's an oracle card, but when you're looking at this, what does this say to you? Especially if we're asking about a past financial situation. Okay, just go though, what draws your eye in this card? What do you see here? Okay, what are you seeing? We definitely see a pedestal. This woman here in the glass is on a pedestal, but she is reaching out of the glass to this person, this performer, who's still got part of his outfit on, but he's taken his mask off. He's got his implements of performing off to the side. You know, he has some looks reminiscent of the Fool. Okay. So you kind of see that. So what is anybody picking up from looking at this card? What are you picking up from looking at this card? A new beginning. Okay, so that's the feeling that it draws to you. That would be correct. Good afternoon, Jennifer. Okay, that would be correct for you, because you know what? When it comes to this, there are no wrong answers. So if what you see here is a new beginning, but remember, we're putting this into a 3-card spread. So this is the past. So in the past, you may have experienced a new beginning with your financial situation. Okay, if we're doing a reading on this. All right, we're seeing taking the mask off. We're seeing making connections. And to me, this card always speaks about making connections or restoring lost connections. So when I'm looking at this, maybe somebody's needing a new beginning, needing a reconnection. They had that connection in the past to their financial health, their financial well-being. Okay, now that's card number 1. Now, if we look at card number 2, which would be, remember, we were doing past, present, future we're doing a fake reading here, but it's a fake financial reading. So somebody's waiting for something to come in. You see somebody that's sitting here waiting patiently. She has her hands folded, but she's alert and attentive. And what is she staring at? She's staring at this old-fashioned phone right here. Okay, she's staring at the phone. Here we see some roses. Is that roses? Yeah. That's a bunch of flowers, roses kind of laying on the table. There's maybe a little note there that's by it. And you see this dog that is fed up with waiting. This dog is just sitting there on the ground, just like, okay, you sit there and stare at the telephone. I'm going to sleep. We see here that the hour sign is on the midnight, and it's a little bit, after midnight. Okay. So we're straight up 12 and it's a little bit after midnight. So you're thinking maybe the destination, the time might have been past or something. And Fatine has a good point. Nighttime is coming, be patient. The right time is coming, be patient. Absolutely. You also see here that she's looking to the telephone for a message, but in comes a different message with like a carrier dove, a carrier pigeon of some kind, a bird that is carrying this note. Okay, so maybe saying that the answer is coming in from a different direction than what you're expecting. That might be something. All right, but all of these things, this is an oracle card, so all of these things have a little bit of a message, and it's about how they speak to you. So Fatine, saying that the right time is coming, be patient, that's how it makes you feel. So you have, you had some new beginnings in your past, but the right time's coming, be patient. So what's the future? That's what we have here. We have kind of like almost a Pandora's box style look. Okay. And you have somebody with one of these golden eggs. Those are beautiful golden eggs. She's wearing a crown. When she opened this up, all of these fairies are coming out. You can see that she is like in wonder. She is very beautiful and very intent. And she has just opened this egg. And these beautiful little divine beings are just kind of coming out and around. And she's like, oh, wow. The container itself was precious, but maybe this divine energy is even more precious than the other thing, you know? So, yeah. Let me put the chat up for you guys to see because we have chat messages coming in right now. Marcia, you need to clean up the house for your guests tomorrow, and for some reason you cannot function to do so. Take a time out to let yourself rest. Take a time out to let yourself rest, Marcia. Give yourself permission and say, hey, at 6 o'clock, I'm going to get up. I'm going to do a half an hour worth of work, and then I'm going to rest for another half an hour. And do that until it's done, okay? On the hour each hour, do a half an hour worth of work, and then sit down for the last half an hour. Okay? 15. New newses are coming and will shine your desire. Look at this, Fatine. You've just done a reading. And you just asked me a few minutes ago, how can you read if you don't have the gift? Because intuition, how we are drawn, we all have intuition. We all have different ways that we are drawn. And when you're getting into oracle decks, there's really not much of a wrong answer. Okay? There's really not much of a wrong answer here. So let somebody give me, Bettine, since you're being ever so involved right now, why don't you give me a question for you and we'll do a reading together. Would you like to do that? So Bettine, ask me a 3-card question that we can look into for you, and we'll do that together. And let's see if we can see what Bettine's question is when it comes up. Hey, you know what? It's what I have to do. I am ADHD, and this is for sure what I have to do when I can't get my ass motivated. I have to set times. I'm going to get up. I'm going to do this. No, this is not readings, Marcia. We're learning. This is a preview of what I do in the mentorship circle, and we're actually teaching people how to read tarot for yourself. Everybody can do this, bar none. There is not one human being on earth that can't at least learn to be a card reader, not necessarily a psychic. There is a difference. Okay. Yeah, but everybody can do cartomancy. Everybody can read cards and divine messages from the cards. Okay. Do me something other than a relationship thing. Let's do something other than a relationship. You're like, what does Amar think of me now? Ask me like a more, not a relationship question. That gets a lot more complicated when we're trying to read other people's thoughts and feelings. A lot of that kind of does require a little bit of psychic into it, but you can get some information. Okay. Honestly, they do it with interview. They do it with as kind of like a psych eval kind of thing. By asking you questions. They also sometimes they threw in an IQ test. 158, by the way, in case anybody was wondering. I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was a junior in high school. I only took meds for my remaining high school years. Once I graduated high school, I stopped taking meds and learned how to work it within myself. Okay. Will I be famous? All right. So in the Will I Be Famous, we're going to actually just go ahead and pull one card, and we're going to see what we can read off of that. Okay. Will you be famous? And let's go ahead and zoom in on this. All right. My coffee right here, by the way. Yes, I am still drinking coffee. There's coffee in there. See? Hold on. I'll take the lid off. And you guys can see coffee, but it's almost gone. I use this coffee cup every day. Oh, Fatine, we already asked, will you be famous? So, what do you feel from this card? What do you see? Let's talk about what we see in the card here. We see a mother holding a child, okay? And we see a mask on the mother. This is a butterfly mask. Butterflies normally invoke feelings of transformation. It's also a very beautiful butterfly mask. But when you look at the child, you see a birthmark that's reflective of the mask that she's wearing. Okay? Over here to the side, we see a mobile, hanging mobile of stars and moons. Okay? When we see this giant plume coming out, kind of almost a Vegas style giant plume coming out. On the mother, we see a birthmark here of stars. Okay? And that is literally at the lowest part of her back there. Okay? We see a birthmark of some stars that are here. She is embracing the child and holding and supporting the child's head, holding her close to the breast, but the child's not breastfeeding. The child is just skin to skin contact. Okay? And the child is holding on very closely to the mom, but is also remarkably close to that birthmark there. But like I said, the birthmark, the mask is actually showing as a birthmark here on this child's face. Let me kind of give you a little bit more of a close-up so that you can see that birthmark there. Okay? You see the birthmark, and then we see the birthmark further down on her. But you see the birthmark on the child's face. It's a half a face, but it looks very much like that mask. Okay? So, Fatine sees somebody who is afraid to be famous because they are holding their self, their inner self. Excellent, Fatine. Excellent. You picked up on the fact that because this child is holding the birthmark, this is her inner child. Okay? And she is protectively wrapping herself around this inner child, trying to protect it. Hello, Moon. Welcome, welcome. So, you're seeing somebody, because we're asking, will you be famous? Well, you're holding on to an inner child, and your inner child is not growing. Okay? So the inner child is actually masked in the same way that your outer self is masked. Okay? So what does that say? Maybe one of the interpretations I might give with that is that you need to let your inner child grow and let yourself be truly seen in order to be famous. Now, if I'm looking at this in the term of being famous, I do see her desire to be famous because, like I said, she's got kind of like this showgirl style mask on. But she's not getting dressed. She's not getting ready. She's not putting herself out there. She's worried about protecting the inner child. So Fatine's comment about somebody who's afraid to be famous because they're holding their inner self in too tightly and not allowing that child to grow and heal past those traumas and past the mask that the outer self wears, that tells me that there's a potential for you to be famous, Fatine, but you got to work through some shit, that sort of thing. Deli, so to answer yes or no questions, I need to pay attention to the image in the card. Yes, Deli. So ask me a yes or no question, Deli, since we're going to be on yours. And yeah, Lola, that's a great thing. She doesn't want to step out of her comfort zone. She won't let go. Excellent. And yes, it could also be a choice because we have a child. Yes, absolutely. That having obligations could keep you from embracing anything else, that your focus needs to be on raising your child. Okay, there's a lot of different ways. There's no wrong answer with this. It's about what feels right, what draws you. What does your intuition tell you? Okay, so Deli, ask me a yes or no question. Let's see what we can do with it. Now, again, we are using an oracle deck. Okay, now oracle decks can be different for anything. Okay, so we're going to turn around and we're going to take this oracle deck and we're going to put it to the side, and I'm going to grab a different oracle deck. Okay, this is a shaman oracle deck. All right, and so what we're going to do is we're going to ask, Deli would like to know, should she move out? Now, here's how do you select cards. Well, you can shuffle, and one of the ways, let me put this on the bigger thing here so that you can see. One of the ways I like to shuffle some of these thicker decks, because these oracle decks are thicker, is to just kind of do this thing. And you'll see a lot of different readers that kind of do this thing. Okay, and that's a absolutely valid way to shuffle. The other way to shuffle on these really thick cards, because these are like cardboard almost, okay, is just to kind of let them fall like this and then put them back together. I'm not bending the cards when I'm doing it. Okay, and just kind of go. and just let them fall like that. And there, that's a good shuffle. Now, what I do for selecting cards, we're going to take this and we're going to put it all out. Now, it helps when you have a slick deck, a desk, and you have like maybe a tarot reading cloth or something. But you can put them all out like this. Now, Deli, are you right or left-handed? Because let me tell you, if you're right-handed, you write with your right hand, then the hand you should be choosing with is your left. If you are left-handed, you write with your left hand, then the hand that you should be choosing with is your right. So Deli, you're right-handed. So your more intuitive hand, the less controlled hand, is your left hand. So what we would do is you take the left hand and you go along until you feel drawn to the right area, okay? And then you pull your card, all right? So here's your card. Now we're asking a yes or no question of, should I move out? And we're going to turn this over, and we're going to see that this card has an image on it, and it says the giveaway, okay? Now, what is the imagery that we see on this card? Okay, I see several planets. I see kind of like a person here. Here's this woman with her face. Can you see her face here? Okay, and her face is kind of shrouded with the light. We've got a lot of light that's coming down, but it also seems like the light's coming from her. Okay, so we have light coming from her, and she is reaching up towards an even greater light up here. Okay, and the words on it are the giveaway. Now, we haven't read the book on this. We don't know what the hell this means. Okay, you've never seen this before. Okay, but we're going to go with the imagery. This is an oracle card, and we see this person who's got like the sunspots. It looks like they even have flowers, a sunflower in their hair or something of some kind. And like I said, all of this, you have energy moving out towards these other planets. This is just a number, so this is something that can be ignored. That's the number of the card if you're learning the actual meaning. But you see her reaching up, and the fact that it says the giveaway, she's offering something, it appears, that is full of light. All right, so Deli, your question is, should I move out? What's your feeling with this? What are you feeling from this? What draws your eye? What draws your emotions? What kind of really catches your attention in this card, Deli? I am curious what you think. And you're more than welcome, Fatine. The wolf pops out, huh, Jonathan? I say it's screaming to me to move out ASAP. Okay, so what about this is screaming to you to move out ASAP? What image draws you? What is pulling your emotions? Let's think it out. Let's work it out. Why is it screaming? Jonathan says, my feeling is that a new and better opportunity is going to come to her from a better person as a roommate. And at that time, she should take the opportunity when it comes. What brings you to that conclusion, Jonathan? Let's examine this. Let's look at this. What about this image, without getting into the full interpretation, which we've already talked about, Deli's view of it, Jonathan's view of it, what about this makes you feel that way? What about this card draws your attention? And again, we're learning how to use our intuitions here. We're learning how to trust our inner self. Even if we don't have a psychic gift, every human being on this planet has the creative spark of intuition. That's okay. Try to explain, Deli. Not a problem. Your English does not need to be perfect. We're all about, a global community and doing our best to understand each other. But what draws you here? Lola says the woman is reaching for the light, sunshine, better days ahead, peace and light. Beautiful, Lola. Absolutely. That is a beautiful interpretation, very similar along to the time of what I was looking towards. The woman with her hand out is giving, and the stars will come into alignment, and someone will come with a better offer. Excellent interpretation, Jonathan. Yes, we definitely see the planets starting to align over here, okay? Whenever we start talking about the planets coming into alignment, that means things are going to come towards you. Okay, is she giving or is the universe providing her with light? That's my question. Deli agrees with Jonathan. She feels like the person in the card is reaching out for a better future. Okay, and I feel like, yes, when we're looking at the planets, what we can't see up here, there seems to be kind of a ball here, is like the sun, and she is reaching towards the sun. She is reaching, and it feels like even though there's stuff coming from her, she's putting out the good energy, and because she's putting out the good energy, to me, that sun is warming her. I see an expression of peace on her face. Okay, Jonathan says also, if she asks her higher power for a better opportunity, it will come. I agree with that. So yes, here we are. You have never studied this deck before, and we have asked this a question, and you have an answer. Isn't that beautiful? Anybody can learn to read. Anybody can learn to utilize their intuition. Now, why would you go to a reader like you, Lady Shiya, if I can read for myself? Because sometimes we are emotionally compromised. Many times. I hardly even read for myself. I'll pull a card once in a while, look at a situation, that sort of thing. I'll pull some information and stuff like that. But many times I will go through and get a reading from somebody else I know and trust. Unfortunately, my last reader died of ALS. God bless you, Melanie France. I miss you. Okay. You're stuck with the literal interpretation, but there's more. Yes, the more is here. All right, so let's go ahead and get back into, I was going to stick around with just oracle cards today, but somebody else asked me a yes or no question, and we will get out our learning tarot deck here, okay, and ask that question of it. All right. It's our learning tarot deck. Feels peaceful, yes. And may the goddess take her in her bosom and rest in the eternal arms of the mother. Amen. Okay, now, technically, there is a reason. Let's just go ahead and ask the same question. Should Deli move out? And so we're going to do it this way. We're going to go until the card says stop. All right. Now we're going to look at what it has on the other side. Now this is a learning tarot deck. And in this learning tarot deck, it will actually tell us here, yes or no. Okay. I actually need to zoom this in just a little bit. Let me see if I can zoom this in a little more. Oops. Wrong button. Let's see. There we go. How's that? We can see it a little bit better now. Can you guys read that okay? All right. So we pulled the Two of Cups, and this is our learning tarot deck. And on our learning tarot deck, it has the meanings here. It has upside down the reverse meanings. It has the numerology. It has the suit information. It has the chakra that is associated with it. It has the element it's associated with, the astrology it's associated with, and whether it's a yes or no. And here it's a yes. Now, why is that a yes? Let's go into why is that a yes? You can zoom in on YouTube. Okay, well, hopefully for those who are on Facebook and can't do that, now we can see this a little bit better. Okay, but on this Two of Cups, all right, on this Two of Cups, what do we see here? We see two people exchanging things. Okay. Two normally means choices, and this is something that we will get more into on the mentorship circle on learning what the numbers and the suits mean. Okay, but we see Two of Cups, and its general meaning on the Two of Cups here is cooperation, affinity, harmony, mutual attraction, compatible friendship, new romance, and reconciliation. Okay, this is in general the Two of Cups, and I call this one of the ultimate love cards of two people that are coming together. It feels good. It has a good feeling. Okay, so when it has a good feel, it feels good, it's generally a yes. Okay, so we're looking on there, Two of Cups, good meaning, good feeling, yes, yes. That is answering in the affirmative. Affirmative, affirm, yes. Okay, now let's pick a no card. Let me go through here and find a quick no card. Okay. Here is a 5 of Swords. All right. This is a no card. 5 of Swords. And see how it says no. What's going on here? You have like death, destruction. The 5 of Swords is normally about a Pyrrhic victory. And it says here, selfishness, cunning, betrayal, failure, miscommunication, defeat, humiliation, frustrated, loss, unfair advantages, and pointless victory. Pyrrhic victory is what I call it. I always call it Pyrrhic victory. It says pointless victory. Okay. So what's the difference between the feel of these two cards? Well, this one feels really good. This one don't feel so good. That's why it's a no. So let's see if there's any maybes in here. I don't remember if they have put any maybes in the deck. Oh, that one's upside down. That's yes, no, yes, yes, yes. Oh, let's do this way. Let me see if I can find. I don't think this deck put any maybes in here. Not every card is a yes or no. Some things are unknown or maybes. But this deck, very clearly black and whites between others, between things, okay? So I don't always agree with everything that is on a teaching deck, which is why I typically use like other things, but I was turning around and trying to find a more clear-cut defined thing here for you. I found a maybe. Okay, here we go. Here's a maybe. The Hangman. Okay, most of the cards in this deck say yes or no, but why is this a maybe? Okay, first of all, the Hangman, he's not hanging by the neck until he's dead. He's hanging by his foot, and he's kind of put himself in this position. Okay, he's put himself there. And here's a couple more maybes. Let's see, I'm pulling a couple of maybes out of here. So yeah, there's a few maybes in this deck, but sometimes the ambiguous stuff can be a little bit more maybe. And I'll tell you kind of what I feel like on these and why I agree or disagree with the yes, no's, or maybes. Okay. But the maybe here, he's put himself in this position. He's looking at things from a different perspective. So my maybe and a yes or no would be saying, hey, you might need to make some sacrifices to get what you want, because the Hangman's also about sacrifice. And you see right there at the top, self-sacrifice, okay, spiritual growth, prosperity. It's overall a good feeling card, but he's put himself in a very difficult position to be able to look at things from a different perspective. So if you really want a clear answer, you might need to look at things from a different perspective. Let's look at some of the other maybes in this deck. The Hermit. The Hermit means taking some time out to learn about things. So that would be why it might be a maybe there. Okay. The Seven of Cups. This is about looking at other options, this card. So the Seven of Cups, that would be why it's a maybe. That it's a possibility, but you need to look at the other options. Okay, Four of Cups, that's about, dreaming and looking at things and kind of having a goal and an idea, a dream. That's a maybe. It means you can't grasp it right now, but it might be something that could be out there for your future. The Six of Swords, this card is about a journey, okay, and taking things slow. So you might learn more information as you go along. That would be a maybe. A Two of Swords. Two of Swords for me is a look a whole different direction, because yes and no are both the wrong options. You need to look at the third option though. So that's a maybe. You see how it is? So yes, knowing the meaning of the card can help you determine whether that card is a yes, no, or a maybe when you're asking a question. So if we were to take a yes or no question, like Deli, should you move out, with a deck that does not have yes, no, or maybe on here, we have the Knight of Cups. Now, if we learn what the Knight of Cups mean, that's an uphill emotional journey. That's, kind of like, think of a salmon swimming upstream, okay? A salmon swimming upstream. They need to swim upstream. It's going to be a struggle. They'll get it. They'll swim upstream. It may cost them a lot to do so, okay? But it needs to be done. It is a requirement. It needs to be done. That uphill battle needs to be fought. All right, so if we're looking at this card, that would be a yes, you need to move out, but it's not going to be an easy thing for you to do. You need to get out. So we've had 3 different decks, 3 different ways of looking at it, all giving us the same information, Deli. So hopefully that kind of helps and blesses you. Does anybody else have kind of a question that they'd like to throw out and see how to read that question in the tarot? Remember, if you throw out a question, I will expect you to participate in the reading itself. I'm glad that it's interesting and helpful to you, Deli. So yeah, I'm still eating my lunch over here. That's my lunch. Here's a close-up of my lunch. It's got cucumbers, a little bit of dressing, a lot of herbs and spices in here. I think I ate all... Oh no, there's a mushroom. There's a mushroom, see? And chickpeas. And tomatoes. Quite yummy. I know y'all all want to know what I'm having for lunch. I know it's a late lunch, but I got a lot of stuff that I've been doing today. Now, as I mentioned, this is a free public preview of the Mentorship Circle, okay? The Mentorship Circle is where I do all my teaching. I'll put it up here. Where is it? Ta-da. Here we are. Oh, can't see it. Oh, well. Probably should just... Well, anyway, it's over here to the side. There. Right there. There you go. Mentorship Circle. You can learn more at ladyshiya.com. You can also get a free month in the Mentorship Circle by going to the link that is shown up above here. Right there. Where it says ladyshiya.com/trial. Now I'll give you a free month in the circle. You can learn how to do tarot like we're doing here. Learn how to use your intuition. Other topics that we cover include empathy, spells, witchcraft, shadow work, mindfulness, astrology, dream interpretations, Reiki, and so much more. Everything practical, metaphysical, spiritual, everything I can teach. Everything that I have learned in my 35 years as a witch and my 48 years as a human. Well, my current incarnation as a human. Okay, you got another. People ask you when. When is this going to happen? When is that going to happen in terms of days or months? That is always a tough one. I don't care how experienced the reader, unless you have a specific timing gift, that is always a tough one. And I'll tell you why it's a tough one. It's a tough one because spirit does not have the same focus on time that we do. Okay? So one of the tricks that I use to determine that is when I say when, I'll do a little bit of a 3-card spread, and we're going to show how we do that. Okay? So we're going to look, first of all, our first question. Is this sooner or later? Okay. Let me make this bigger here. Is this sooner or later? Okay. Is it this year or future time? Okay. And is there a season that we should be looking forward to? Okay. So, what I see here are clues. Is this sooner or later? Okay. And when we see here the mature king says later. Okay. Whereas if we got a page or something else that was younger feeling or, more immediate feeling, depending on the card, we're seeing here a mature king. Okay. So we're seeing later. Then we're saying, this year or next, and this is definitely a next or in the future years. Okay. So, because this card literally means wait for your harvest, the 7 of Pentacles. Okay, it's going to take time to grow that fucking tree. It's going to take time for those pentacles on that tree to grow and then ripen. And then she's sitting here with her basket waiting for this. But meanwhile, she's ready and she's been putting in her work. You see the cows, so she's been fertilizing stuff. You see all the other stuff going around. She hadn't been idly waiting for this to come about. She's been doing other things. Okay. And then we have, is there a season we should be looking for? And specifically, since we're now looking at future years here, How many years are we looking at? Possibly 3 years. If you're looking at season, you would look at a time of turbulence, like when the tides change. When is it? Because we see rough and choppy seas. So it would be a time where the seas are more rough and choppy. Okay, is there a particular time of year that has the choppiest seas? Well, we don't know that. So hey, let's handy dandy Google. All right, so we're gonna go search the web for, is there a time of year that has particularly choppy seas? Okay, and it's going to come up and it's going to say how to avoid rough seas on a cruise, the world's roughest waters for cruising, the 8 roughest seas for cruise ships. Let's show the Google results here. All right. And it says in the Google results here, up at the top, it says, avoid the winter months. They are the most intense, with transatlantic cruises hitting very rough seas from November to February. Okay, so that kind of gives us a time of year. So we're looking at whatever this is. It's later, it's future years, and possibly within a 3-month period or 3-year period there, and between November to February. So that would be a way to really nail down the time. Does that help? Hey, drunk, I'm doing good. How you doing today? I'm drinking my coffee. So yes, that is kind of how to tell a little bit about. And you know what? There is no shame in getting an impression about the choppy seas of using the Google to look up, hey, when are the seas choppy? November through February. You see that? November through February. It's one of my favorites too. Okay, so who else has another question? I want to go back to an oracle spread. So let's do some kind of an oracle reading. So you guys come up with something that we can ask for a 3-card oracle reading, and that you would be willing to participate in the reading to learn. Let's do our, we're going to pull out our oracle. This is one of my favorite ones for learning. This is by Ciro Marchetti, and it is the Oracle of Visions, okay? It has some beautiful imagery in it, and it's all very, very subject to interpretation. So it helps us develop our intuition, and by paying attention to the imagery on the Oracle deck. You do not have to know the meaning of the tarot cards to be able to use Oracle decks to read and intuit information. All right. So Amy Ross would like to know how February 4th will work out for her. So we talked about this last week, and we're going to continue with that vein of sometimes we just need to look towards a sentence. Okay, we've asked a question. So we're going to use 3 cards to give us a sentence for an answer. Now, why do we do that? Okay, well, if you've ever been in English class, ever, and you remember how we used to diagram sentences? You'd have subject, verb, predicate, subject, verb, action, subject, verb, predicate. You've got those 3 points of the sentence, okay? So we kind of look at it that way. So we're going to turn this over, and we're going to see 3 cards. All right? And so we're going to get our general impression off of each card. Let's zoom in on the first card. All right, card number 1. What do you see in this card? Okay, so Amy, what we see here, and without knowing the meaning of the card, we see here a woman who is dressed very nicely, almost in sort of morning clothes, but she's not quite morning. You kind of have a little bit of the sense of the morning with the black headdress, but it's not quite black. We're purple. So purple speaks of royalty. Even though she's kind of prim and proper and almost in a morning style dress, we see that, there's color to her. And she is looking back towards her past. And, you see that changes are coming, because we see the geese that are flying, right? We see the geese that are flying south for the winter. They're going away. The geese are flying away. The season is changing. They're going away for the winter. She's got a rose, kind of maybe a rose in remembrance, and a letter, maybe a letter of closure. I don't know. What do you feel from this? What are you picking up? Anybody, not just Amy, any of you guys may answer this. What are you picking up? We see the V formation of them going south for the winter. And the reason why I say winter instead of summer is because she's getting some long sleeves. If the birds were coming back, we wouldn't necessarily see the formation. We almost never see them coming back. They just kind of show up one day. Okay, but we always see them, okay, they're going on their long V formation going south for the winter. All right, she's facing south. South is also, looking towards the past, that sort of thing. So what are you seeing? What do you see? Anybody lamenting or longing, okay? So you see she's lamenting or longing for the past. For me, the fact that she's written a letter and she's kind of, notice instead of holding it out like this, she's kind of holding it like this, like she's holding the letter in close to her. Like, I'm not sure I want to give this letter out, but she's written it, okay? And the kind of position of her hand says that this was more of her writing her letter for herself. This was more of her kind of like, she's deciding on whether or not she's going to give it. But the hand outward, the rose, the remembrance, the love, they're saying something love lost, maybe, finding closure. She's finding her own way to close. As seasons change, she's letting go of something from the past, perhaps. Okay? All of those things. Does anybody else have an alternative view of how you see this card? Remember, there are no wrong answers. No wrong answers. It's how it interprets to you. No wrong answers. Anybody? All right, well, we'll see if more comments come in because sometimes we are on a delay, but let's look at card number 2. Okay, card number 2 that we pulled up. We have a woman here. She is blindfolded. She's wearing a mask, but, oh, wait a second. No, we can't see her eyes. Her eyes are open. So she's wearing a mask here, and it has a red. So red can be like a power kind of thing, but we see her eyes, but she's still hiding behind a mask. She's even built up her hair behind this mask. Her hair isn't really seen. All we see mostly of her face is this mask. We see that she is wearing a corset of some kind. Okay, so it feels like maybe she's not completely dressed yet. Maybe she's in her dressing gown and is preparing to get ready. Okay, we see on one side we have a mirror, and what's in this mirror exactly? Let's look at it and see exactly what's in the mirror. We see a reflection of her in that mirror. And we see a reflection of her, and we see a reflection of this light on the other side, okay? So she's holding a mirror. The mirror holds her reflection on one side. Underneath it, we see a padlock, a closed padlock, okay? Now, underneath that, we see a book, okay? And this is an interesting book here, because this book does this have writing in it? Why, yes, that book has writing in it. And you can see that the pages have writing in them, okay? So this is perhaps maybe a past. We reflect on our past. We can't change the past. The past is already written, okay? And the past has fallen away, and we're going to talk about this imagery here in a minute. On this side, we see an open door. We see a key, and we see a blank book, perhaps an empty journal, okay? So we see other things coming over here that's undetermined. We have a key. We don't know what, we have a door. We have light coming through the door. We don't know what that is. When we look above here, we see things from fall all the way through to summer and harvest time, all the way back to spring, where the flowers are there and the bees are here pollinating and the promise. And then we see the beginning green shoots here. So we're seeing kind of going from here, from the potential, the future, the potential here, to the leaves have fallen and this thing has gone through a life cycle. Okay, so what does this say to you? What does this card say to you, Amy? Now that we've talked quite a bit about it and we've kind of gone through some of the imagery, you kind of get the feeling that maybe she's at her dressing table, but she's kind of looking at her past. She's in her boudoir. She's in her sacred space, you know. But at the same time, maybe, you know, even looking at herself in the mirror, she's not seeing herself fully because she's wearing a mask. So she's not really looking at herself. She's looking at her past and her future here, maybe. So how does this feel to you, Amy? Anybody, go ahead and give your impressions of this. What do you feel like it is? So we have lamenting or longing, and Amy answers, looking to begin something new without understanding the present moment. That's how it interprets to you, Amy. Okay, good. Now let's look at card number 3, the third card in this. Now you see again somebody who is looking at elements of their past. And we think about elements of the past because we've got a locket, and a locket stands for remembrance. We have a doll here, maybe a childhood favorite doll. You also have this image of her kind of being floating in the clouds, that her head's in the clouds. Again, we have some papers here that all have writing on them that are just kind of floating about her. And we see, again, another imagery of a bird indicating the sky. We also almost have like almost a stream look here, okay? Like there's a stream somewhere. She's up above. And we see the changing tides, the changing currents, the currents of the stream, ever moving things forward. So what does this one speak to you of, okay? She's got her eyes closed. She is kind of lost in her thoughts, lost in her memories, okay? And in some ways, she is the same color as the bird there. And almost her bow here almost seems to almost turn into the bird. There's a little bit of separation there, but it almost seems like those two things almost go together. How does this feel to you? And anybody may give their interpretation of how they feel like this is. There are no wrong answers. This is all about how it feels to you. Remember, this is about intuition, not being psychic. This is about intuition, being guided by your intuition. So what are your impressions? Lost in the nostalgia of the past. All right. So now I don't know what February 4th is about, okay, for you, and what significance February 4th has, but here is the sentence that we have. All right. We've talked about especially how it feels to you that somebody's lamenting or longing from the past. They're beginning to look at something new without understanding the present moment, or perhaps maybe even understanding the past, because we have 2 cards that are looking towards the past. We're looking at all this together. Okay? So you have somebody who's looking for something new without understanding the past, and somebody who's looking longingly at the past, or dare I say maybe comparing things to the past. So my personal interpretation of this would be, hey, for you to really be able to embrace and deal with whatever is bringing February, whatever's coming for February 4th, you're going to have to deal with the context of the past. You're going to need to understand the past in order to get through what's happening for you on February 4th. Now, did you want to give us a clue on what's going on, why February 4th is of significance, so we can kind of look at the efficacy of this reading? And when you're learning to read, these things do make a difference. The more information you have, sometimes it can cloud the message, but sometimes it can clarify the message. It's all context. So if we're looking at a sentence of how this is going to go, honey, you need to understand your past and let yourself kind of get some closure on that. Figure out where you are now and realize that your past does not define your future. Okay, it's a dart thing, and the guy you've been talking to is going to be there. So your past does not define your future. And to quit trying to recapture something. It feels like maybe you're trying to recapture a lost feeling. So maybe you should let go of the past in order to really see things clearly in the moment. There's a dart thing, and the guy you've been talking to is going to be there. Okay, so yeah, looks like you're repeating patterns from the past because you don't understand your past. You don't understand where it's coming from. You don't understand why it's going that direction. So February 4th, how's it going to go? About the same as it always does, because you haven't dealt with the context from the past. See how this works out? See how we get really good, deep, concrete, helpful information, even without a psychic gift. I am intentionally not using that right now to illustrate to you guys how everybody can learn to do this. Everybody can learn to do this. Let me say that again for those of you in the back. Everybody can learn to do this. Now, there's still a good context for having somebody else read for you because it gives you perspectives, because we get locked up. Oh my gosh, do we get locked up in our own head sometimes? Do we get stuck in our past and our perspectives sometimes? Yeah. So you're currently trying to figure them out based off of your past experiences. Understand your past and let go of it and let things be organic in the moment. The future is as of yet, remember, unwritten. You have the keys. There's an open door there. There's potential. All right? But as long as you're sitting there looking at the past and looking for a particular feeling, you're not going to be able to be fully in the moment now, are you? That's where she's blocking herself off from the present right now. She's not really seeing herself truly in the moment. She's got all of these other distractions she's looking at, all of her past and the unknown, okay? The great scary unknown. It's so scary. Danger, danger, danger. There's the unknown coming. Help me. Okay? Stop panicking. Check. Let things go. Check. Yes, absolutely. So now you guys see for sure. Anybody can read. Anybody can get information from tarot or oracle. It's all about feel, intuition, paying attention to see what draws you. Okay? Is there anything when you're staring at this that particularly brings your emotions to bear, Amy? Is there anything that sticks out in this reading more than anything else to you? There may be a tiny little image in looking at this that just really resonates with you. Is there something here in this reading that just like jumps out to you and says, hey, look at me? It's relevant information. Remember, if you want to learn the tarot or learn any of the other wonderful, crazy ass shit that I've got to teach, including Reiki, runes, tarot, empathy, spells, witchcraft, shadow work, mindfulness, astrology, dream interpretation, etc., 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 as well as participate in self-paced learning, the Teaching Thursday classes, which are not going to be publicized soon, maybe occasionally, but not right now, and exclusive guided meditations, our spell archive, the mentorship circle chats, and all the community support and the journaling, the group journaling that we do together, that sort of thing, then you might want to check out the mentorship circle. All right, there is a way for you to have a free trial. If you look above right here, okay, you see this right here? It says right there, LadyShiya.com/trial will give you a whole month for free to check out to see, hey, is this a group for me? All right, so think about it. See about joining. LadyShiya.com/trial. Or you can just go to that link and read more about it. Or you can message me if you have any questions. Okay, so we would love to have you there, but it is definitely a closed private group that is a safe space, very monitored by me, extremely so, and by the wolf too, but very monitored to make sure that everybody is being loving and respectful, that everybody that's there is involved in self-growth and trying to really improve, self-improvement, you know, all that sort of thing. So yeah, we'd love to have you join us. Meanwhile, tomorrow is Freaky Friday. So join us at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow night for more readings. Get a reading. You don't have to read for yourself. I'll do it for you. Don't you worry. So hang out tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hopefully we'll see you then. Meanwhile, Mentorship Circle people, we'll see you guys later on tomorrow for a chat, okay? So meanwhile, merry meet, merry part, until we merry meet again. Hopefully you guys will realize that you too have intuition. Blessed be you.